If your goal is to go from being a renter to an owner in 2023, this video is for you. And no, my advice to you is not to stop buying avocado toast or going and getting your Starbucks on the weekend. Although doing less of that can't hurt, that's realistically not going to be the make or break that's going to help you get into the market. And I want to take a little bit of a different approach to today's video. I'm not just going to tell you the obvious things that you need to do. It's more going to be the 5 mistakes you need to avoid if you do want to make that step into home ownership. My name is Tom Story. I run a real estate team here in the city of Toronto, and we have helped hundreds of first-time homeowners over the years. So I'm going to do my best in this video to give you some advice that will move the needle for you to get you into home ownership. If you learn anything new or find anything valuable in this video, all I ask is hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. We are on our way to 10,000. As you continue to watch this video, if you have specific questions for me, you can also go into the first link in the description and book a call with me at a time that works for you. The reason I decided to make this video was because I ran a poll on our community tab on our channel. What I had asked is for the people that want the rates to keep going up, what is your current position in the market? And somewhat surprising to me is that 40% of the results said that they were currently renting. And that made me realize that there's a lot of people that are coming back and watching my videos that are in this position. And they're potentially looking at, okay, well, like, what do I do? Because it's kind of daunting on how to actually get into the market. The first mistake that you want to avoid is not seriously looking into all the different options you have for financing. Now, I'm definitely not saying go get private money or go get B lending. That's not necessarily good advice in today's market. But what I am saying, as someone that has helped a ton of first-time home buyers, whether we like it or not, this is just the reality, that a lot of people are getting money from their family. Now, I know you're going to say, Tom, my family's not just going to offer me money. I don't want money from them. Totally fine. But what if you could figure out a payment plan with them? Like if you're going to pay someone back, would you not rather it be your family? I found that the main thing holding people back from getting into home ownership is typically that down payment. They could probably afford what the monthly is going to be on the carrying cost, but the down payment is holding them back. So have that conversation with your parents. Go to them with a plan and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. We will set up a payment plan that I can pay you back if you're going to help me get into this property. Something else that I personally did, and this wasn't when I bought my first property, but looking back at something that I would have considered if I had thought about it now, was buying with somebody else, right? Co-ownership. And I don't necessarily mean your significant other. I mean someone that you are on the exact same page with. It makes it much easier if you are 50-50 ownership and you know exactly what your goals are with the properties. Now, there are absolutely risks involved here, but I'm starting to see this trend continue where a lot of people are reaching out to me, like younger people in their early to mid 20s or like maybe early 30s saying, hey, we've realized that if we want to live in the city of Toronto, we can't save at the same rate in which the prices have either gone up or the mortgage payments have gone up, if that makes sense. But together we could do it. We could get in, and we'd rather do that than each of us continue to rent. The minimum down payment here in Canada to get into a property with a mortgage is 5% on the first $500,000. Then it is 10% on the money between $500,000 and $999,999. So for example, if you bought a property for $600,000, it'd be $25,000 on the first $500,000, and then $10,000 on that next $100,000. So $35,000 down payment would be the minimum to get into the market. If you can get to a point of getting to 20% down, it obviously is ideal because you're going to avoid mortgage insurance. But something interesting is that if you're putting less than 20% down because your mortgage is insured, you have that mortgage insurance, sometimes, actually most of the time, you're actually getting a better mortgage rate. It's kind of funny how it works, where if you're putting less than 20% down, you're going to get a lower rate because your mortgage is actually insured. So just something to think about. Obviously, putting down 20 is typically a better thing for most people. But if you're like right on the cusp and you got like 15% and it's going to take you a lot longer to save for that last 5%, you might at least want to talk to a mortgage broker and see like what's the actual difference on my payment versus 15% now or waiting to get to 20% in the future. The second mistake that you're going to want to avoid is not fully understanding how mortgages work. Now, the way that mortgages work is obviously we all know that we have the rate, and that's the thing that we all kind of have the understanding of. But as you dig deeper into it, they are front loaded with interest, right? The bank cares about getting paid first. So those first 5 years of the mortgage are going to be interest heavy. If you look at mortgage payments right now, they could be 60, 40, 70, 30 on interest every single month. Now, that's because the rates are where they're at today. I remember the last mortgage that I got, it was more like 60-40 to principal when I started the mortgage. But really, it's going to take several years to get that pay down to happen. You can also look at accelerating your payments on a mortgage, where it could literally take off up to 10 years of that mortgage amortization just by making an additional payment every single month. Another thing that I should probably bring up here is that for the most part, you can rent something that is nicer than what you could afford to buy, especially with the rent control in Ontario, where it can only go up 2.5% as long as you're living in a building built before November 15th, 2018. It's like sometimes you're in such a good position that you kind of get really comfortable and you're like, well, why would I ever move from this? And by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with that mindset. If you have no interest in getting into the market, that's totally fine. But just run the numbers. Like, look, if you're going to stay there for the next 5 years, how much money you're going to spend in rent, because that is money that you're never going to get back. The third mistake you're going to want to avoid is the mistake of not fully taking advantage of all the government plans that are available to you as a first-time homebuyer. Number one is that you can take out up to $35,000 from your RRSP tax-free for your first-time home purchase. You will have to pay it back over a period of time, but it is tax-free. So if you're looking to get into the market down the road, that's something that you will want to consider. And the other program is actually brand new for 2023, and the information about this is just coming out now, so you can slowly start to open these accounts now, is the first-time home buyer savings account. Now, this account, you can put up to $8,000 in annually, so you're going to want to start it as soon as possible. And then they're also saying that up to another $8,000 of unused contribution room over time. But the thing with this account is it's going to max out at $40,000, okay? But it's tax-free in this account. So if you take the $40,000 you've saved in this account and add the $35,000 you can take out from your RRSP, that is turning into very close to a realistic down payment for a lot of people looking to get into the market. The fourth mistake I want you to avoid if you're thinking of getting into the market is buying for the short term. Like, realistically, if you're moving away in 2 years or you're only here for a period of time, don't buy a property if you're going to sell it in 2 years. As we've seen on both the ups and the downs of the market, is that lots can change in 2 years, and you'd want to have minimum, like very, very minimum, that 5-year perspective, because if you sell a property after 2 years, you might have a massive penalty attached. There's real estate commissions. You've already paid the land transfer tax. There's all these other things where, like, if the mindset is short term, you don't have at least that 5-year perspective, honestly, just keep renting. Mistake number 5 to avoid: don't just buy because of the hype. Like, a lot of people in Canada look at real estate as their nest egg. I'm one of them. I got into the market early. I continued to invest, and long term, realistically, like, my retirement's not going to be from selling real estate. It's going to be from owning real estate. That's how I'm going to build my wealth. But the reality is that if you're really, really good at something else, whether that means you're an entrepreneur and you want to start your own business and you've always wanted to do this, but instead you put that money into a down payment, I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, start something. If you're young, you can still figure it out after the fact, right? But if you're just putting your money into a house or a condo and it's going to stop you from doing what you really want to do, especially early in your life, that would kind of be a shame. A few other costs associated as a first-time home buyer is you're going to have to pay land transfer tax depending on the market that you're buying in. If you're in Toronto, you're paying double land transfer. There is a first-time home buyer credit, which I can go through with you in another video, or you could message me below and I can send you that information. And then there's going to be lawyer fees, potential appraisal fees. Sometimes you have to pay a mortgage broker for specific things, but the two big ones are going to be land transfer tax and hiring a real estate lawyer. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you found it valuable. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments below and I'll make sure to hang out there and answer as many as I can. My name is Tom Story, and remember, home is where your story begins.